Well, there are a whole bunch of reviews that have come in about the Marvels movie, and I've got to tell you, I don't agree with most of them. Probably almost all of them. The reason is because it seems like a lot of people who went to the movie went there to basically condemn it even before they knew they were going to watch the movie. I don't know why they don't like her. Brie Larson. I don't get it. I enjoyed the first Captain Marvel's movie. I thought it was fun. And come on, Samuel L. Jackson was in it, and he was great. I just thought it was a really fun movie. But people don't like her. People didn't really want to go to this movie, obviously. But here's the thing. They really didn't get to promote it. I mean, you had the writer's strike, the actor's strike, and it basically ended 3 days before the movie opened. So they didn't get a chance to do good promotions. Some of the things they showed I saw them on YouTube. Some people might have seen it on TV. They didn't really highlight a whole bunch of things either. I thought that, for me, I'm going anyway. Like I said, I enjoyed the first Captain Marvel movie. I enjoyed the Ms. Marvel, what do you call it? The thing that was on Disney, the 6 or 7 weeks TV show with Iman Vellani. Oh my God, how do you not love this kid? I love her. I think that she's fascinating and she plays the part really well. And Marie Rambeau, I didn't remember that she was in WandaVision. It just shows, where my mind went. I only remember really the last, episode of that. I think that was also 7 weeks. But I knew I was going. I went, me and my friend Scott and his wife, we liked it. We liked the end credit scenes. So we had a good time. But I'll admit that maybe there were 13 to 15 people in the entire theater on a Thursday night. We've seen more, but we've also been there every once in a while when there's been fewer people. And like I said, I've seen a lot of videos talking about it, and I just think that sometimes there are people who have to already hate something, go to it with a mindset that says they're going to hate it, and then they do their video and they hate it. There's been a few people who I think have actually been fair. They said it wasn't their favorite movie, but they thought it had a lot of good fun. They enjoyed the cats. I thought that was goofy, but still, I thought that everything that happened in the movie went well. The truth is, we really don't know Captain Marvel all that well, or Marvel, whatever. Because in the first movie, she didn't really know who she was all that well. And I think that if you don't feel like you know somebody, that maybe you see things differently. For instance, the first Iron Man movie, I really enjoyed that movie, but it was probably out, I'll say 2 or 3 years before I saw it, because I didn't like the Iron Man comic strips. Truthfully, back in the day, and I'm going way back, late 60s, early 70s, I was not a Marvel comic fan at all, except for Spider-Man. And I didn't realize he was supposed to be a kid, because I was a kid. So I totally missed all that. But, eventually I heard the thing about Iron Man, went to see it, said, oh my goodness, this is way better than I expected it to be. And Robert Downey Jr., he may have been off-putting for a whole bunch of people. Once again, I didn't know who he was. So I came in with a whole clean slate on the entire thing. I had never seen a Gwyneth Paltrow movie. I had seen Jeff Bridges. I liked Jeff Bridges, but the character he played that character well. I hated him. You're supposed to hate the bad guy. There it was. And after that movie, I said, you know what? I'm going to try to stay with this because I bet there's going to be a bunch of these. And yet, I hated Iron Man 3. I didn't see Iron Man 2 because I saw the previews and said, this looks stupid. I don't want to see this movie. So I've never seen it. I have seen the scene where he's first introduced to Natasha Romanoff. I had never really paid attention to see that she was that attractive. So that's on me too. So, but I think that if you're going to hate something up front, for the sake of hating it, why are you spending money to go to it anyway? You're not going to be fair if you already hate something and then you're going to go do a review of it and say, okay, yeah, I really hated that. Why did you go? Why did you waste your money? You know, this is the same kind of thing that's now happening with the Harry Potter movies. We all love the Harry Potter movies. 2 of those movies made over $1 billion at the box office. And now there's a whole bunch of videos on YouTube where people are condemning, saying, oh, they weren't really all that good, or we actually hated this and hated this. It's like, no, you didn't. If you did, you would have said something way back when instead of saying it now. Because these are all videos basically within the last year and a half or so. Because they're mad at J.K. Rowling. Well, be mad at her. You know, I'm like 80% mad at her. I understand the 20% because I did a video about this earlier in the summer, back in August. So I'm not going to rehash that. Suffice it to say that, yes, my love for her and her stuff has diminished, but I'm never giving up on my Harry Potter books. I read all of those. Actually, I do the listening, so recorded books, 4 times a year, and I watch all the movies around the same time because I'm always learning something new. So I'm not turning my back on those just because of this. I still watch, there's a channel called Harry Potter Theory, and then there's one called Harry Potter Folklore, and I still watch those things because they come up with these concepts of things. It's like, oh, wow, I never thought about that. Or, yes, that's exactly what I thought about that. So, you know, I'm here for that. But the ones who are coming out hating, nah, ain't going that way. Because here's my thing. I am not going to see a movie unless it's some compelling reason to go. Most of the Marvel movies, I have wanted to go. Felt compelled to go. But not a whole bunch of them. So a lot of movies I haven't seen until they've come out on a DVD where my mind says, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and buy this. I'll go home and watch it. Or during the pandemic, so we couldn't see Wonder Woman at the theater. And truthfully, I don't know that I would have gone to the theater to see Wonder Woman because I really didn't know much about her. I never read any comic strips. I never saw the TV show. I'd never seen her in any of the cartoons because, you know, I was older then. So she was one of the Super Friends in the old Super Friends back in the 70s. My God, I hate dating myself so much. But I really didn't know anything about her. But when it came out on Disney Plus, I watched it and I said, oh my God, that's really fantastic. Went out the next day, bought that. I watched that movie all the time. So I enjoyed that movie. The second one, I'll say I'm 60-40. I like it more than I hate it, but it didn't really deliver a lot. Still, when it came out, I would have gone because I wanted to see it. So there's that. But in general terms, I have my list of things, you know, how I determine how much I enjoyed a movie. And actually, before I go to that, I just want to mention this with Star Wars. The very first Star Wars movie that came out back in 1977, I didn't see it until late 1978. I saw it at a movie theater that decided it was going to show that movie every week for 69 weeks. And it was a movie theater that was only a minute and a half away from where I live. I wasn't going because I'm a Star Trek guy. No, I don't want anything else to mess up with my belief and my love for Star Trek. And my friend Scott, he finally talked me into going on week number 68. He said, I will buy the tickets. I will buy the popcorn and the soda. You have to go see this movie. 78. I didn't have any money. So, yes, we went. And then I was hooked. So we all have our different reasons for not wanting to see something. And then we have our criteria on movies, hopefully, that we wanted to go see or we had a reason to go see. So my criteria are love it, liked it a lot, not bad, didn't get it, hated it, and didn't want to see it. And I'm going to start at the top. Love it. Loved Endgame. Loved Infinity War. Loved Ragnarok after a while. Not initially, but loved it. Loved the first Iron Man movie when I finally saw it. Most of the Marvel movies, I actually liked it, loved it a lot when I saw it. You know, liked it a lot. This is one of those movies where I'll have some people who won't like this, but Black Panther, I liked it a lot, but it had kind of a thing that happened in the movie that turned me off from the rest of it. So it ended okay, but there's just certain things that mess with my sensibilities. It happened in that movie. So there's that one. Like I said, I liked it a lot. Avatar. Avatar is one of those movies where the first time I saw it, I had a deep loathing for it. But it's going to sound strange. It was also this 3D movie. And you don't have almost any of those anymore. But it was 3D. And so I'm wearing the thing, the red and blue 3D glasses. And it was hard for me to concentrate on the movie itself because of that, all the lights flashing and whatever. But I just hated it. I saw it for something else because, okay, I'm black. And even though that may not mean something to a lot of folks, I was also an African American studies. That was my minor. And I still am on that side where anytime I hear someone use the term woke and they're not black, I pretty much ignore them because most of the time they're spouting hate. And I don't need that in my life. So, then I said, okay, I've got to go see Avatar again because I must be missing something because a lot of folks like this movie. So I went again. This time I didn't go to an IMAX. I did not go to 3X. I went by myself. I sat in the back, which is where I always want to sit. It was just a regular movie, and I enjoyed it a lot more. So that one turned into a like it a lot, although I hated it the first time. Then we have the not bad movies. Now, there are movies where the previews look so good that I said, I've got to go see this. And I didn't think it was bad. John Carter is one of those movies where it's got beat up by tons of people. And I didn't think it was that bad. Because I had never read the books, I had no idea who John Carter was. I really didn't know the guy who wrote Tarzan. And I'm not a Tarzan fan, just to get that out of the way also. But visually, I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was interesting seeing this guy on Mars being able to do things that he never could have done on Earth because of the gravity. I liked watching the monsters. I liked, the technology, whatever. I don't know what the lady's name was who was in that movie, but, she was stunning. I ain't gonna lie. She was stunning. But I didn't think it was that bad. So I enjoyed that. My Stepmother is an Alien. I saw that in the theater. I thought that was kind of fun also. That wasn't bad. It wasn't, the greatest movie in the world, but I enjoyed it. That's what you're supposed to have, So I'm easy with that. Then I have movies that I didn't get. So Pulp Fiction. The first time I saw Pulp Fiction, didn't want to go, had no idea what it was. A friend of mine really wanted to go. He wanted to pay for it. Oh, someone else wants to pay for it. I went. And I had no clue what was going on. As a matter of fact, we were in this theater, and if you've ever seen it, it kind of jumps around a little bit here and there. I thought the guy in the back must be doing something wrong with the cans because it just looked really stupid. I didn't get it. I didn't hate it. I just didn't get it. None of it. Many years later, I watched it again. And this time I got it. I understood. I was watching it in my own house, on my own TV. And I said, oh, I get it now. Because I didn't understand the concept of Pulp Fiction because we didn't read. My family did not read Pulp Fiction magazines or books back in the day. So I had no clue what that was supposed to be. But then afterwards, it's like, oh, I get it now. The Eternals. We saw Eternals the day it came out. I didn't get it. it was too many characters and all of them were totally brand new. And I didn't get all this stuff. I didn't understand the Celestials. I didn't understand they were building one, out of Earth. I was totally confused. I didn't understand the aliens who were there trying to kill other folks and then find out that they're all kind of the same. Nothing. But later on, I bought the DVD. It was on sale, Blu-ray, and then I watched it and I said, okay, now I have a better understanding of this. Now I understand who all these people are, because it turns out the young girl, I didn't know that was supposed to be a young girl. And truthfully, I wasn't sure that it was a girl until she started saying how much she loved the other guy, or the one guy, and it's like, oh, okay, so she is a girl. Seeing it a second time and then a third time, I got to understand it better. So I didn't get it initially. That one I liked. Same with Pulp Fiction. Hated it. There's only one movie that I totally hated in my entire life. There's a second one that's borderline, but the movie I hated was My Dinner with Andre. I'm betting most of you have never seen that movie. Probably most of you have never heard of it. But it was up for an Academy Award. And basically, it was two guys at dinner, and they were just talking with each other, but one guy was doing most of the talking. He's telling all these weird stories, and the other guy would be like, yeah, really? What happened next? Or just something like that. And I'm saying, oh my God, I wouldn't want to be out to dinner with either of these guys. I wouldn't want to be in a dorm room sitting in the lounge with either of these guys. But for some reason, this movie took off with a lot of people. Didn't like it. And then I had to go. Episode 1 of Star Wars. Because we had the original trilogy, movies, episode 4 through 6. And then 1 was coming out. Gotta go. Hated 85, 90% of it. Didn't like it at all. I still ended up buying it because I bought the trilogy. But that movie was so bad that the kid who starred in that movie decided he never wanted to be in theater again. That's how bad that was. I felt so bad for that kid because none of that really was his fault. And, not all kids are great actors at the beginning. The Harry Potter trio, initially, some of the things you saw, because they don't shoot everything in order, there are some scenes where you're like, well, okay, this shows they didn't really have any skills as an actor. But when they're in the final area, final scenes where they're now trying to figure out how to get Harry in so that he can, go against Voldemort and all those guys, there was some real good acting at that part. And so, that's just how that is. But that's really the only 2 movies that I kind of hated. And then I have my last category, which is the didn't want to see it. Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, the Ant-Man movies. I finally ended up kind of seeing the Quantumania movie only because they got this channel by this guy named Alex something. I can't think of what his last name is. Where they do kind of a reaction movie. And, they cut it up a lot. So it makes the movie move along faster. I mean, I think this video may have been like 42 minutes long. And, of course, you got to break to him kind of beating up certain things. Didn't want to see it. Saw it that way. Said, meh. Jonathan Majors was supposed to be Kang the Conqueror. Meh. But, I didn't go in thinking I was going to hate it. I knew nothing about Ant-Man. I didn't know about Ant-Man in the comic strips. But like I said, I didn't know almost any of the Marvel people in the comic strips. I didn't know Captain America in the comic strips. And when I saw Winter Soldier, I said, okay, yes. I like him a lot. He's now my favorite character. I enjoyed him in Avengers also. but it was Winter Soldier that made him my favorite character. But like I said, I didn't go into any movie with the intention of hating it. If that's how I thought it was going to be, then I wasn't going to go. And I think it's a shame that there's people who are dumping on movies that star women because they're not projecting what they want in women. And they can say anything they want to, but if you watch the videos, because I watched a few, that's exactly what they don't like. So if you don't like women, if you don't like minorities, you know, if you have a legitimate reason not to like something, like I said, My Dinner with Andre, by the way, it's the only movie I ever fell asleep on. I fell asleep for about 20 minutes. And then I woke up and like, they're still talking. So obviously there's a hate movie right there. But it's just one of those kind of things where I think probably in a couple of years, as some time has moved on, this movie is going to end up being more popular than it is right now. And even though I didn't see this other movie, this is supposedly what's happened with the movie Elementals. When it first came out, it was totally different than any of the other Pixar movies. I think it's a Pixar movie. But it was so different that a lot of people were turned off. It lost a lot of money, up front. It didn't do well. And now it's really popular. And people are just buying it off the shelves or watching it on, I think, Disney. And they love it. It's a top-ranked movie. That's just how it goes sometimes. Anyway, that's my little rant. Because I just felt like I needed to say something positive in a different way about some of the things I've been seeing lately that are bothersome. I lead a weird life. Anyway, my name's Mitch Mitchell. Let me know your thoughts. Y'all take care.